This spot is one of my favorite places in the house. We live in a big house in sort of like a countryside area. It's a lot cheaper here, so we could get a decent sized house. But um, ironically, I still choose to be in a tight, small space and just be in the quiet and spend time writing. And the reason why I enjoy doing this is because I get to think about what's been happening in my life and the things that bringing meaningful moments. On Thursday, I went to Tokyo to meet a couple of my friends there in Shibuya, and then right after that I went straight to Yokohama because we have there's a church there that I'm really close with in Yokohama International Church, and they have a team visiting from Dubai, of all the places, but which is amazing. A mission team from Dubai coming to Japan to help out, and so yeah, came to Yokohama to hang out, and we were on our way to the church location, church venue. We got off at the station, and just right in front of the ticket gates, there was a piano there. And when the kids saw the piano, automatically just went straight to there and started playing some music. And just like what we always do, as church, no matter which church you're from, when you see the instrument, it's like instinct. You started playing, and everybody else started singing worship songs. And next thing we know, we were worshiping right there at the station. It was pretty amazing. And there were people standing by, looking at us, what's going on. And then I noticed this guy sitting a bit far off towards the exit. He was sitting by himself on a bench there. I noticed him looking around like that, looking at us because we were pretty loud. And it was an underground station, but there weren't a lot of people like Tokyo or Yokohama. But I noticed him. He was looking at our direction. And then he stood up. And I didn't know exactly how it turned out, but the time I noticed him, he was talking to one of our team, and he was crying, he was rubbing his eyes like that. And I took notice, and I was kind of curious what was going on. And then later on, they came over, and then he said that for some reason he felt drawn to the singing, the music that we were doing. Now, no offense to the team, but we weren't like particularly terrific with with the music. It was good. I love the song and the worship and the singing, but he was drawn to us just being there and worshiping, and he felt something, and he started crying, and he couldn't explain it. He said he's not a Christian. I don't know if he's been to church or what his family believed in, but wasn't a Christian, but he felt something. And right there, right then, we started praying for him, just being the church, because that's what the church does. When someone's in need, we pray for them. And what the church does, we worship anytime, anywhere, and we just be the church. And so that guy, he said he wanted to come to Sunday. And he did. So last Sunday, he and his wife showed up in church. Um, I don't know the details, but I'm praying that he continues to stay connected and come to know Jesus and fall in love with him. And the reason why I'm sharing this is we weren't particularly on set to bring someone to church during that moment. We didn't have any plan, we didn't have any strategy. We just happened to be the church. And what the church does, God moves. And I believe what he felt during that moment was God's presence right there at the station. And the point I'm trying to say is sometimes we just need to be the church for God to move. And I'm guilty of this because sometimes I try to come up with formulas and solution and things that I think could work, which sometimes is important as well. Don't get me wrong, but I believe we just need to be better at being the church. And being the church, what does that mean? Well, what is a church? Church is people that are called by Jesus, the people who have found meaning and purpose in Jesus, people who are broken and now have found life and made complete in Jesus. And the church are the people who fall in love with Jesus and eventually fall in love with each other. And that's what the church does. And when we gather together as a church, it's just automatic to worship because we can't help it. We keep singing about God's goodness. It's instinct. And when we see someone in need, we pray for them, regardless of the place, of the situation, because we know that God moves and he listens and that he is in our midst. And when we are the church, we speak out God's promises in his word. And when we become the church, when we be the church, we speak out God's words from the Bible. And when we are the church, we follow the Spirit's direction. And I think I'm speaking to myself and, it's really just speaking out loud. I want to get better being one of the parts of the church. Yeah.